When you are in love with what you are doing, money will be an abundant byproduct. Shruti Botnick's 20-year research study of a large cross-section of middle-class workers found that those who eventually become millionaires did so because they were profoundly absorbed in what they did. You can only be profoundly absorbed in what you love doing. Do what you love, and the money will come. The Lazy Way to Success by Fred Gradston. So, guys, I have a really bad news for many of us, especially the younger generations. And you want to know what it is? I think our parents may have lied to us. They may have raised us for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Worse than that, I think we were sold a lie, a bill of goods. A lie that has taught us to sacrifice the thing that truly moves our being for a safe path that promises us financial stability, at the cost of the real thing that would lead us to our God-given prosperity and abundance. So what our parents did, out of fear, which often masquerades as love and care, because love casts out all fear, they're pretty much opposites. Out of that worry and lack of understanding, our parents have mistakenly sold us a bill of goods. And out of the fear of the future, maybe a lack of discernment on what truly drives us, out of maybe doubt in our abilities, and lack of clarity, we accepted that deal. So it's really not a blame game of really understanding that dynamic that we both participated in. And this is where we end up in the mess that we're in today. We're stuck in a wage slavery system that to me is designed to drain a person's soul, keep us from having time to live a life of purpose, spend time with our loved one, and even invest in spiritual growth. We're even faced with economic uncertainty, with inflation. But the thing is, when we're faced with all those fear of inflation, increased cost of living, growing economic unease, do we have the courage to take the leap and follow that spark, follow our dreams, follow our passion, before we start pointing at the finger of who's responsible and seeing ourselves as powerless, always waiting for something to happen to us to get us out of this situation? Right? Do we have the courage to maybe answer that call, that thing that's inside of us that leads us to invest in that idea that we have, that business, that book, that venture that we want to go on? But we're still under that threat of, what about the future? How is it even going to work out? Do we have the courage to dare to design the vision of our future that we want and transition into that life of freedom and abundance on the other side? That's probably going to take obstacles, but that's actually going to be much more life-giving to our souls. Proverbs 18:16 says, "A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great." Because I believe we're in a period of transition, a new economic age where the people who will be rewarded are those who dare not sacrifice their passion for a lifelong job just in search of making money. The way to our abundance is really tied to our calling, to our gift, to our passion, whatever it is, the thing that we can build in when God sent us to this world, so that we can be a service to others, a service that we can use to then maybe bring back in monetary value. Because I feel like this shift is taking place, and it's like this rock cliff that's falling off, deteriorating. There's no going back. When we look at the robotization, the automatization of work, the things like where the things that do not need any human creativeness are being taken over. You go to the mall, you go to go get your the grocery store. You see there's less cashiers, more automatic, right? I see them as 9 to 5 as maybe temporary jobs, things that you do maybe to finance another venture that you have, another project, right? But often the people in them find themselves stuck because there's difficulty to envision what else could I be doing, or even having the faith of believing that it could work out. that the gift that they have actually has that much value. Because I believe every single person has $1 million idea of service, ability that they can finance. So yeah, the theme of money and abundance has been a lot on my mind. I think many kingdom-minded people are getting this idea of maybe starting business, because when it comes to spirituality, sometimes this 9 to 5, it takes up so much time that I feel like it's something that sucks out our life and takes away from the things that we want to do. Sometimes we want to do things for God, but then we think, oh, we're tied up to that system. And me myself, I remember I'm in this place in my life right now where I'm starting to transition. I just had my first payment that I got for the book that I've put on Amazon on July. So I'm already sown the seed, my own seed. I've started in my content creation. And I'm starting to see some petals grow out of the ground. It's not the tree yet. It's not the abundance that's going to help me live from freedom to live my job as a skip the dishes driver. But I've embarked on that journey where I wouldn't have to spend so much time trying to make money, but provide a service that eventually would bring me more in less amount of time. Because I know 3 years ago, I didn't think that way. Because 3 years ago, I received a prophetic word from another person who told me that God had given me an anointing for businesses, for holding multiple businesses. And at that time in my mind, I was like, I didn't see myself as that person, And it wasn't just one business, but many. So I couldn't receive that word. It didn't mesh with the past me, but I knew that it was. Eventually, God started to speak to me about the topic of wealth, of wealthy mindset, and pushing me towards that place where I would see differently, where I would want to step into financial freedom, entrepreneurship. But today, after years of slow and steady work, confronting my fears, my own limited belief, realizing my true desires, even asking God, not wanting to be broke and living paycheck to paycheck, because how many of us are living that way? And following that desire, it's launched me into starting to build those different streams of income, Just last week, like I said, I received my first payment for my book. I also have YouTube, which doesn't bring me money yet now, but it's something that I'm building. So I feel like there's this wave coming where I almost see as a kind of a trying to raise a red flag of necessity to move out of that system, because to Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, who predicts that traditional jobs will disappear by 2035. It's like everything is going to push humanity towards that place where they need to become creators themselves. The drawers, the people who have books in mind, people who have businesses, ideas, so that they can present them, that they can have something of value to offer to the world. Think about wealth building wealth for ourselves, wealth for ourselves and our generations. To avoid, I think personally, it's going to get harsher, perhaps a period in the future, where if you're living trying to make means ends by going through a job that doesn't mesh with the thing that you're called to do, it's going to be hard, it's going to be complicated, and it's going to be less viable. So I see this as this kind of wave of a lot of different factors pushing us to take that leap of faith into living our passion, living our dreams, and not giving up. So yeah, our passion is tied to our prosperity. Finding something that we love doing and doing it well will bring us prosperity. And this is a key lesson that I'm learning or discovering. So this is really this step from becoming consumers to creators. Because this often what happens, we go to our job long hours, then we go back home, and then we consume things to make us feel better, right? Instead of become creators ourselves. It's a light that turns us into sedative and consuming, trying to fill this void and the discomfort that this lifestyle causes us, trying to numb the fear or the idea that we'll be stuck inside that will with no prospect or no hope. having ideals, dreams, and gifts, but never taking a step from being a consumer to creator. Or maybe you throw that project in the future, saying, oh, one day, when I have time, when everything is right. But the thing is, when circumstances are better, and you're pushing down the line, but that thing, that seed that you need to sow in the present, that you start working on right now, that book, you have a paper, a pen, you can start writing right now. It's one step by one step. That's what I did. One chapter by one chapter before posting it. I could always have said, oh, I can do it later, but this is the seed that needed to be sown. And really, we're trying to often avoid this discomfort of change, of acting in a way that maybe doesn't reflect the people that we are right now. We want to be an author, but we don't see ourselves as such, so we fear, we doubt, and we let those things swallow us and stop us, freeze us. Analysis paralysis. But changing the circumstances of our life isn't comfortable. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you live, think, act the same way, that your circumstances will not change. If you change your mindset, your consciousness will start being reflected in that reality. And you start walking as the person who, for example, who writes. Therefore you write, start writing, and you become the author. It's got to start somewhere before you want to see it manifest. If you want the circumstances to change, then you got to change the inner workings, the habit, the thoughts that leads to your action. It means thinking, reacting, and acting differently than you have for your past life. And many of us have fallen for that promise, that now false promise of go to school, go get a job, and go get a house, and go get a safe job. But today, it seems like the money doesn't pay anymore. You get financial death because of school. I feel like there's this overwhelming anxiety that also comes from every societal problem in the media and being bombarded for us for the past 5+ years. Who would 5-10 years ago expect to go through all of these massive periods of changes, of the crazy stuff that's happening right now? Things have been shifting, things have been changing. It's like all sorts of institutions have been crumbling. There's this feeling of something that's crumbling, right? But I feel that this is a situation where there's something old that's crumbling, but there's something new that's being born. We gotta learn how to be in tune with the spirit to know how to ride that wave. These times have always been the time of economical crash has always been the times where there's been new waves of abundant people, of millionaires that have risen. The most wealth creation happens in these kind of times, because I feel like it pushes us to innovate, to find ways, how to thrive, or we're back against the wall. Anyways, regardless, I think it doesn't really matter what the outward circumstances are if you know that you have the power to mold them. Your outer reality is always a reflection of your inner reality. But with this knowledge comes the realization of our responsibility. Because you're the one meant to create your own reality. So many of us are stuck because we're living in the limited reality that our parents, you can live, you want to be an artist? That's the thing that makes you live. That's cool, but how are you going to pay for this and that? You're not going to be able to live. And we've lived under other people's limited belief. And it's caused you to manifest that reality where you believe, the struggling artists that have been told that lie inside of their consciousness. And they've believed that lie in a sense. But the thing is, I believe you should go for it. You should succeed. Go for it. Find a way. If you believe that's the way that you want to go, you'll find a way to make it happen. The ideas will come. But it'll also take the courage to face the obstacles, because there will be obstacles which comes from inner beliefs, lies that will become resistance points that we're going to need to go through. So I don't believe it's too late. I believe it's still time where you can follow that spark and follow it. This is an encouragement to actually do it. This is your road in the desert, or you'll go through if you want to go reach your promised land, you're going to have to go through some trial, face some giants of your own, which reflects the inner giants in your land, inside of you. They'll have to come out one after the other. And you have to face it, and then you'll overcome them, and then you'll take the land. You'll step into the promised land. Not everybody makes it, because not everybody is willing to face them. Really, face the darkest parts of ourselves, the part that we've denied, that we've often projected on other people, that we've tried to convince ourselves, our ego, protect our ego from excuses. Oh, I'm not where I want in life because of that person, because of this, because of that. But now it's a path where there's no excuses. There needs to be awareness of everything and where we grow. Because there's a divine seed in us that already knows the way, but we just need to be willing to walk that path, to attune to what God is saying, what the creative spirit within us is saying, what it wants to manifest in the world. So it's pretty much an adventure that's calling us, but who knows where we may end up in the next 5 years. But if we want our future circumstances to change, we're going to change today in the present. So I want to leave you with this concept for those who might not know, okay, how do I start on this whole journey? And it's the concept of Ikigai, which is this idea of where you try to find the sweet spot between what you love doing, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you're going to get paid for. Makes me think of a joker that says, if you're good at something, never do it for free. I feel like the first quadrant, 1 and 2, is the passion or gift aspect, the calling, something that you do naturally and easily, or it would simply go over your head, or you wonder how people are having hard time with this thing. Or something that you can spend multiple hours doing out of bliss, out of passion, out of fun, that gives you life. You should look into your past as a child, something that you did naturally as a child, that you gravitated towards, that you can spend endless time researching, right? Because the thing we love doing, we keep researching and having fun and digging deep and becoming knowledgeable about those things, and having this kind of advantage over knowledge, because we can offer that knowledge to other people. But it's something that naturally comes to us because we just do it naturally. Like my little brother, something that he did, he used to have this Nintendo DS, and he would draw on this little pictogram that would flip, like the pages that you flip, and you like the pages that you draw little things and you flip them and you just go through them, right? But on Nintendo DS, he would put songs and he will sing and he would make animations, right? And that's something that, you get an insight, something that he did naturally, that had fun. He did it hours on end. So you can find out for you to find out the passion or the gift that you have. Or just sit down and personally, on my side, it was something that I've discovered, gifts that I didn't know I had. I'm just spending time with God and Him. Eventually, when I was on this path to wealth, telling God, I want to go on that path to wealth. What is the thing that I have? And personally, He told me writing. That wasn't even in my sight, right? And 2 weeks later, He told me to start writing that book. So yeah. Another example, I think I remember the story that there was a lady who was so good at rolling joints that she got paid like thousands of dollars by Snoop Dogg or something. She was Snoop Dogg's personal joint roller. It's kind of this idea that something, it could be a simple thing that you're so good at that even people who have a lot of money could be willing to offer you that service for a lot more, right? And it's just thinking and diving into your past, into what you are, what you want to bring. And there's a business aspect, which is quadrants 3 and 4. What the world needs, what you can offer, the seed that you can offer, that the world needs, and what you can get paid for. Because now we're stepping into this idea of business. Focusing on business is simply problem solving. You find a need that you can fulfill, and then someone pays you for that service. And that's it. It's not about being dishonest. Actually, it requires honesty. You can find a problem that you have overcome in your life, and you've seen fruit in the past, or in helping others overcome. And you can start helping others, like in this an idea of coaching maybe. And you don't need to be level 100, just maybe level 10. Because if you're level 100, you might have this distance between you and level 1, where you're so advanced that people in level 1 have a hard time tracking. But if you're level 10, then you're close. You can help 10 other levels below you. So it's the idea of, I need to be an expert. You need to be good at what you do, but you've had a breakthrough in your life. It can be simple as breaking social anxiety. Then you can go on YouTube, start a video, start making videos and maybe proposing to help people in coaching. And oh, hey, I've helped people. I've broken my social anxiety. Here's what I did. Talk about yourself and stuff like that. You find ideas. And yeah, so yeah, it's finding this gift, this seed that you have, and the things that the world needs and that you can get paid for. Then find your Ikigai. And I encourage you to start today to find that thing find your bliss, to follow your bliss, and not to wait for the whole road to be traced down, to be sure that you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, the whole plan figured out. But sometimes we want the assurance that it's going to work, but it doesn't work like that. We have to take that leap of faith. Just like in the movie Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. How do I know when I'm ready? You won't. It's a leap of faith. And to those who really don't know when to start or when to get clarity, well, I've got some coaching I propose. So for those who want to learn how to better hear the voice of God better, to learn how to flow with the Spirit, or who simply need some prophetic help in me helping them pinpoint what is the gift that you have, or helping them establish what's the next step in the process. For those who want maybe to start content creation, write their book. Or some people who are just interested in themes of the kingdom of God, sonship, and mysticism in spiritual growth. So yeah, there'll be my email in the description, or anybody who wants to send me a message who needs coaching in any of those areas. I'm willing to help. And yeah, and there's also my book, like I said, Kingdom 101 New Waves, Identity and Sonship, where I talk about some kingdom principles at the end of reality creation, how to walk through faith and being the one who designed our reality, understanding the process, right? Kind of understanding the simple concept of the kingdom of God, the spirit, soul, body, the mindset, our subconscious mind, and how it affects most of what we do, and how to change those things. And there's also my Patreon, where I have a library of content when I talk about content creation, spirituality, mysticism, my experiences with God, and other insight similar to that video that I've had. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, I wish you faith and hope and just trust. A bit of self-belief when it comes to engaging in the thing that that God is calling you to do, and to not wait, to start right now, because right now is always the best time. Peace.